All right, testing. Is this on? Good? Little louder? The master of ceremonies over there? How's that? Can you guys hear me okay? Should I talk louder? Everyone's nodding. All right. We got 20 minutes. We're in the primo fall asleep after lunch zone, so I'll do my best to keep you guys awake. All right, so what we're talking about today is why you should be using Power Apps. How many folks here are SharePoint Online users? How many of you are not using Power Apps? How many of you are using Power Apps or have tried it? All right, so yeah, let's do that one again. How many of you have tried it and are kind of stumped? All right, so that's the other half. Okay, so we're going to talk through a little bit of why you should be using it. Hopefully give you a little bit more comfort level with it. In terms of the reasons why, we're not going to be able to get into a lot of details on how to build something, the details of all the controls. We don't have that kind of time with what we're doing in this session. But we'll go through the steps a little bit, see what we have for time at the end. But I will stick around for questions. So I'm going to just kind of cruise through what I've got here, since we're kind of running pretty lean. So biggest reason people are going to be looking at other tools, Power Apps just being one of them, is business value, right? So that's the reason that you're going to look at it. It's not just another toy. It's not just another thing that people play with just because they want to. It needs to bring business value. So that comes in a number of different ways. For one, the one reason that we started to hear about Power Apps a few years back was as an extender for the SharePoint forms. So when we were in a list and we wanted to be able to take our forms and make it do stuff that we couldn't do with the out-of-the-box forms, when we lost SharePoint Designer, we kind of lost this capability. It was really easy for us to open up a form, drag and drop, make some changes, hit save, and boom, we were done. How many folks were SharePoint Designer people? How many miss it? Okay. How many of you are using InfoPath today? How many like it? A couple. Yeah. All right. So the primary thing that we saw from a SharePoint perspective is that Power Apps brought us a form capability again. So that's just one of the things that we can do, and I'll walk through what that looks like. Now, this area gets a little bit muddied up because of the new capabilities that they're giving us from the SharePoint side in terms of custom form customizations that are coming down the pipe. So we're going to get things like pick and choose which fields you want to see, so show and hide. We're going to get some logic behind the show and hide, some formatting, and then the ordering of the fields. So that's coming right in the SharePoint interface. So that's going to be a really good thing for the pure non-coders. If you want to go beyond those capabilities, and those capabilities are going to continue to change and evolve, and they're going to keep giving us more features, which is awesome. Power Apps is kind of the thing that you would step to after that. So if you still can't get the features that you need from a forms perspective, that's where Power Apps comes in. Now, where it gets a little fuzzy is what kind of users are you talking about when it comes to Power Apps? It was initially proposed as a power user tool, but I think a lot of people found that it took a little bit more than that. As soon as you get into formulas, as soon as you start dragging and dropping controls and trying to tie them together, that jumped beyond a lot of people's capabilities. If you had power users or folks that were used to things like Access, maybe even Excel formulas, even Visual Basic, those were people that could very easily jump into Power Apps. So some of those light dev capabilities. We also get a wizard that's in the interface, and I'll show you this in a second, that allows you to spin up a mobile app. So you're in a SharePoint list, you can say, hey, create a Power App for me, and it just creates a Power App. So if you step back in time and think about when you were creating SharePoint lists, and it would spin up a list, and you would get these new forms, and it would do all this stuff like kind of magic back then, that's where we're at with Power Apps today. So it can create an app, and it'll give you a 3-form app that I'll show you here in just a second. So those are things that immediately brought value. And then one of the things that was really nice was that it could take a lot of our SharePoint data that was hard to get offline or hard to get on a mobile device directly to a mobile platform. That's one of the areas where Power Apps really excels. So if we look at what that looks like, I'm actually already in one, but let's jump back to where we were. So I'm in a SharePoint list. Let's look at the form real quick. So I've already edited this one. You know what it, well, all right. I won't even take that assumption. I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn off the form that I created. As long as the Wi-Fi agrees with us. And if it doesn't, that's why we had the other one up. All right, so we've got our default form, default SharePoint form. And as SharePoint users are used to, you've created a list with a whole bunch of fields in it, and that's going to basically dump all of those fields onto a form. Yay, kind of good, kind of bad, right? It's a little confusing for users if you're trying to give them very specific things, especially when you're talking about something like request forms. And very commonly, when you have what I call an intake form is kind of the general category for that, you're usually going to have a whole bunch of fields that you want to track from that request. Only a few of them, let's say 3 or 4, are fields that you want your requester to fill out. Who are you? What do you want? When do you want it by? Maybe some notes. That's it. All the rest of those fields you want to hide from them. They're fields that you're using to manage that process. So with the new features that are coming with lists and with Power Apps, you can go in there. I'm going to go turn it back on now. You're going to go in there and want to hide those fields so that when someone comes through the SharePoint interface into a list, says new request, they only get the fields that you want them to have. Makes it easier for them. User experience is a lot better. So let's switch it back over. Ah, sweet. Because I have it open, so now it's going to be mad at me. All right. Let's see if it does it anyways, or we can just create it. Nope. Of course. So we'll customize it so you can see what it looks like over there. But one of the things I wanted to push out there is the fact that some of these changes, some of them are very easy. What you saw me do is I was in the list and I said customize with Power Apps. So it's going to open up Power Apps for me. Some of those very minimal things are super easy to do. The whole dragging and dropping fields, putting them in the right order, telling the form which fields we want to show. So you're going to see some of that right away here. It gives me the fields that are in my list. I can pick and choose which ones I want to show. I can drag and drop them to change the order, except it's not doing it right now because I have it locked. But it might look something like this. Now let's see if we can publish it and actually get it in the SharePoint interface. But I've already said, give me these 4 fields, and I even added a little bit more functionality. But from a hey, let's get started using this, it's pick your fields, pick the order, do a little bit of formatting, all without doing any code. So that's great from an end user perspective. But one of the challenges with Power Apps is that it's really easy to kind of slip into the, oh, now I want to do this, now I want to do this, a little bit more, a little bit more. You get a little bit more complicated, and that's where users get frustrated and organizations aren't quite ready for it yet. All right, go Wi-Fi. While it's thinking, we'll talk about the rest of these things. So while it's thinking on that, some of the other things that you can do, back in the day we had something called BDC. So if we have data from other sources outside of SharePoint lists that we wanted to show either in SharePoint or somewhere else, we had to go through a fairly complex process to get access to that data, to display it inside of SharePoint, to display it the way that we wanted to in SharePoint. With Power Apps, and the way that they use connectors, and there's over 250 connectors to anything inside the Microsoft realm and lots of stuff outside of it, and that list continues to grow pretty rapidly. You can get a connector to the data that you want, pull it into a Power App, and then display it inside of SharePoint, either basically in a web part. You can use an iframe, but that's kind of the making it, stubbing things out kind of way. There are web parts available to make it available. You can make it available as a mobile app. So now you've got a number of different ways to get access to the data where you had to do a lot more jiggering about to get it to work in the past. I keep mentioning the mobile piece, mainly because that's a space that Power Apps really likes, both phones and tablets. And then they use the tablet layout to be able to drop it into a web part or into the web interface. But it's super easy to get it into a mobile device, which a lot of users, at least the ones that I've seen, the request generally came as, I just want access to my list outside of the SharePoint environment, on the road, somewhere else where they can get, they're online, but it just wasn't a good interface or good experience to be on a mobile device, log into SharePoint, navigate my way through. Now you can create an app that is specific to a list that just opens up, and at a bare minimum, you can see your list items, you can edit them, do whatever you need there. That's a bare minimum. And then if you want to build some UI on top of that, if you want to make those apps more complicated, maybe tying to more than one list, or a list and something outside of SharePoint, or ignoring SharePoint altogether, you could do all of those things. So those are some pretty rapid ways for you to get involved with Power Apps and put some power in the hands of your users. How many of you have built solutions using one or more SharePoint lists and then stitching together pages and web parts and code to kind of make a solution? Is that a common thing? So this is another area where Power Apps comes in, where instead of stitching those things together, you're building an app inside of Power Apps. You don't have users that have to come into the SharePoint interface. It kind of frees you from that piece of it, instead of having to be able to jump from page to page. And as most of us have seen, as our SharePoint users get more mature, they know how to jump directly to things, or kind of sideline your process a little bit to kind of mess with your app. This is where Power Apps kind of has a container around it and controls those a little bit. So these are some of the ways that you can use it. Some of the ways that it's going to bring value. It's going to get some additional functionality in people's hands. It's going to enable you to do things with external data. It's going to enable your users on mobile devices. So those are all some pretty quick wins. And again, it's kind of a crawl, walk, run kind of thing, where you can get a solution really, really fast, as long as it's kind of simple. And then you can build on that with added complexity. I wonder if it woke up. Let's go see. Nope. Yay, love demos. All right, so the other one I wanted to show you, and I'm not going to change this screen because I'm not going to rely on the Wi-Fi. When I was in SharePoint, and I said, Power Apps, create an app, where did it go? This is what it came out with. I've done nothing to this app other than let it load up and let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So I've done nothing to it. What it's giving me is it's giving me a screen, it's giving me a page of what's called a gallery. Now by default, it doesn't look very pretty. But what it's done is it's giving me a view where I can see a number of items, and I can use the navigation to jump down into a view items or edit items, all for free. Like I said, I've done nothing to this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to jump in here and you're going to say, which fields do I want to display? What order do I want to display them in? What format do I want to have? Pick the ones that you want on there, and you'll be able to do the same thing on the other forms as well. But it's pretty easy to go from create an app, pick some fields, hit save, and I'm done. So we'll come back to that if it doesn't break any further. All right. So I want to talk about some of the other things, though. How many of you would consider yourselves developers? All right. How many of you have developers that are not happy with Power Apps in your organization? All right. So that's one of the things I want to be able to address here. Is that, number one, this Power Apps isn't going to take over what your developers are doing. What it's going to do is augment the capabilities that they have. Often, at least in many of the organizations that I see, my developers are completely booked for I don't know how far out in time on the projects that they already have, either keeping things alive or building new things that are higher priority. The space that Power Apps is trying to work into is, if I can build a simple app, if I can do the whole 80-20 thing, where I can get a bunch of value for very little effort before I engage the developers, that's where Power Apps is playing. And there are a lot of users out there that can pick up the skills or already have the skills to build those apps very quickly to something where I can build it, my business is benefiting from it. Now I can push off the full need and take it off the developer's plate, and they can keep doing the things that are business critical for your organization. They can use this as another tool in their tool set. So there will be times once developers understand what Power Apps is doing, to say, you know what, it's silly for me to code this whole thing. I'm just going to spin up a Power App. It's just another tool in their tool set. They can use it, and end users can use it to do some rapid prototyping. So developers might spin up a Power App just so users can see, I'm going to put these fields here, these buttons here, even without stitching up any data. It becomes a lot easier for that conversation between the developers and the end users. End users can do that as well. So they're going to be able to kind of think through some of the things that they should be thinking through before they come to the developers, and they save a lot of time in that whole process, going back and forth. And I think that's kind of what we covered all here. So something that you might see would be something like this, where I've got, it's kind of small, I apologize. Let's see if we can close this up a little bit. All I did was open up an app, and I dropped a few controls on there. That's the prototyping example that I'm thinking of, where I can come in here and I can just say, all right, I need another button, I need a label, a text input. All of the tools that it gives me, I can drop on a page, and then I can use as an example when I'm having those conversations. And you can see it's doing things like alignment. This is enough for me to be able to draw a picture, take it to my developers, have a more useful conversation than where they usually start from. So that's what I mean by rapid prototyping. Once you get users that start to play with it a little bit more, they're going to go in and put the right labels on. They're going to tie a little bit of functionality together. If I push this button, this thing happens, this data happens, and maybe like I did here, I pulled in some data just to be able to fill that grid in. So this is the rapid prototyping that I'm talking about. It doesn't have to work. It's just a tool for the development process. How we doing? All right. Governance is another thing to talk about, and this is where that whole comfort level comes in. One of the keynotes earlier this week had a really great example of how Power Apps was being used in their organization, and that's where, and it was pretty typical to what I was explaining earlier. The developers were initially apprehensive, not sure where this tool was going to play, not sure if they wanted to put it in the hands of end users, but then they started to see what the values were, and they saw users that they never expected building solutions that they never expected, which was both a good thing and a scary thing. They said, all right, now I've got these apps that are coming up, now I need to start paying attention to them. So this is where governance comes in. You need to have the admin tools to understand what's being created, how are they being used, how popular are they, how often are they being used. And when they hit some limits, as a governance rule or a policy, you might say, if I hit this level of this many users in a month, or this many users at all, I'm going to kick in some processes. I want the development folks to review it. I need to make sure that it's backed up and the right people are involved, things like that. It doesn't have to be scary. Because we have those tools available through the admin consoles, it's not a app on a PC under someone's desk that they have to worry about. It's in the cloud. It's something they can manage. It's just a matter of putting the policies in place to manage it. And they want to set expectations, both from the people that are building things and the developers. So yes, you can build something, but when you get to this point, you need to talk to us. Or you need to be part of a group where we can say, this is what works, this is what doesn't, here are some tools we're using that we want you to use, here's the way you need to document it, those types of things. So some additional governance rules that you need to put in place to make sure that you've got the control that you need and that your users are empowered enough so that they're being maybe trained up to the point where you want them to be trained as a bare minimum. So those are some of the expectations that are out there. There's also something that I didn't mention on the developer slide, but there are other development opportunities as well in terms of things like components. So development can come and build some standard components that your end users can use. So if you find yourself building something over and over, or if there's something that your users need in an app that doesn't come out of the box, that's where the developers are going to come in again. So now their effort turns from this little tiny thing, building a control, versus building an entire app, and it offloads the rest of that effort in building out the app. So some other things to think about when it comes to governance as well is, are you looking at third-party tools in your organization? Where's the overlap between what Power Apps offers versus other forms tools, other app tools, things like that. So things to consider as you're building those rules and policies in your organization. And then if you haven't already, starting to recognize that whole citizen developer, maker, that different role in an organization. In a lot of organizations, we've got users, maybe power users, and then there's this gap between them and developers. So citizen developers, makers, whatever you call it in your organization, if you can recognize that as a role, you can put some rules, I shouldn't say the word rules, but you can put some structure around that, both to support them and to keep them in the lane that you want them in before development is truly needed. So that gets into those roles again. Each of these different people that are involved with how Power Apps are being used need to have a little bit of education or learning based on their role. So what tools are available? How should they be used? What resources are available? Understanding things like connectors. I mentioned them briefly early on. Some of those fall under a premium license, so they've got licensing implications. So as an organization, you'll have to decide which things to make available, which things to lock down, and which things you just have best practices to use. So, and you can look at some of the other things here. It's pretty standard in terms of what you probably already were doing in the SharePoint space. In SharePoint, we had traditionally IT pros, admins, users, and developers. It doesn't change a whole lot when it comes to Power Apps. What we've basically got is kind of two different levels of developers. It's makers and development, and then users, and then we've got administrators. So it's very similar, and a lot of their needs are very similar as well. So you'll have policies in place, you'll have training in place, and you'll have that communication piece as well. So it doesn't take a lot to get started, but there are some things that you want to keep in mind before you kind of let everybody loose with it. But what I tried to get in early on here was that there's a lot of business value for an organization to be able to rapidly innovate, and that's where Power Apps has really got a sweet spot. So how do we do for time? Are we good? Or can I keep going? That's about dead on, I think. So we'll leave it at that for now. If you have questions, these slides are going to be available, right? These slides are available now. The only difference is I put the space in Power Apps because I didn't know that before we came here. So I'll get the newest version up as well, so you'll have that available. But all the references are there. I will be sticking around if you guys have questions. And if you still have questions, tomorrow I have another session tomorrow morning at 10-something over in Theater 10. So that's all I've got for now.